News on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
KAIETEIR Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good day, welcome to your news at noon on KAIETEIR Radio for Thursday, August 18th, 2022. I'm Kevin Smith. When the former APNU AFC government had released the Stabroek Block PSA in December of 2017, stakeholders far and wide agreed that the inherent provisions leave the country at risk for significant revenue leakage. The loopholes in that document are so damning in size and number that calls echoed throughout the years for renegotiation, for the government to amend some of those terms that leave the nation in a disadvantageous position. ExxonMobil Corporation's affiliate, Esso, was tight-lipped for the most part, only referencing on occasion that it subscribes to the principle of contract sanctity. Just recently, however, Esso's head, Alistair Routledge, went a little further to concoct reasons to justify the company's position. Meanwhile, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo and President Irfan Ali are at odds over the issue of renegotiation of the lopsided ExxonMobil contract, with the Vice President on record acknowledging the bad oil contract will change in the future. But the Guyanese leader said there will be no change to the deal. Ali was asked whether renegotiation of the deal is presently on the table when he insisted that there will be no such thing. In fact, he went on to say that he does not believe the vice president was quoted correctly. And President Ali said he was not against providing state protection for Police Surgeon Dion Bascom, who has made bombshell revelations accusing senior police officers of covering up the investigations into the murder of businessman Ricardo Fagundes. The head of state also said he is aware that the Ghana Police Force has been engaging its international partners on Fagundes' case. Bascom's lawyer, Nigel Hughes, requested protection for the policeman. He also requests an independent investigation into the killing of Fagundes. Bascom last week in an explosive Facebook video linked businessman Azruddin Mohammed and Superintendent Mittal Caesar to the crime. And moving on. Police Surgeon Damian McLennan, who was charged with obstructing the course of justice in the murder of Quindon Bacchus, was on Wednesday granted $250,000 bail in the High Court after spending more than a month on remand. On July 5th, 35-year-old McLennan of South Sophia, Georgetown, made his first court appearance via Zoom before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. Also charged was Lance Corporal, 24-year-old Thurston Sample. McLennan and Simon were charged for allegedly perverting the course of justice by providing false information to investigators. Meanwhile, Crime Chief Wendell Blanham on Wednesday confirmed that the CID was aware of a report lodged at the Breakdown Police Station alleging that Police Surgeon Dion Bascom was threatened by a suspect wanted for the March 2021 murder of Fagundes, better known as Paper Shorts. Blanham even admitted that despite having knowledge of this, Bascom's superiors, including himself, did nothing to assure the detective. He went on to say that the CID does not investigate threats, but that a report was made to the Breakdown Police Station. And moving on, despite at least 2 contracts being awarded by ExxonMobil for the $1.3 billion pipeline that is slated to commence construction by year-end, the operator is yet to commence talks with the local insurance companies to secure its operations. President of the Guyana Insurance Brokers Association, Mr. Peter Abdul, explained that he is unaware of any policy being discussed presently. He noted that if the oil company had reached out to the Insurance Association of Guyana, he most certainly would have been informed. However, Abdul noted that Exxon would have likely approached the Brokers Association first before initiating discussions with the insurance body. You're listening to KAIETEIR Radio, 99.1 and at 99.5 FM. This is the news at noon. We'll return after the break.
Did you sound? Heard you got a couple $1 million for me. Tell me crazy. It's easy like 1, 2, 3. Can't believe all this money for me, money for me. I got to get the CASH. That's the code for the vault, so let's play. Top up with 1,000 and the next day you could be a millionaire. Did you say?
More than 15 million to grab this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more to collect the letters to spell CASH for a chance to catch millions in the Digicel's cash vault. Top up today.
Digicel.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on KAIETEIR Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Wanting to protect your family during these difficult times of COVID-19 is natural.
Stay at home, wash your hands often, and don't touch your face.
Yes, Daddy.
But are you doing these things too? And do you practice social distancing? Do you keep 3 to 6 feet away when you're shopping? Or at least stay an arm's length away in the supermarket? Remember, children learn from adults. So if you're not obeying the precautions, neither will they. We have to work towards the new normal together to keep our families safe and protected. Be part of the solution, don't add to the problem. Teach by example and do the right things.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. The refusal of the Irfan Ali regime to investigate the allegations of bribery and corruption against Vice President Bawat Jagdeo continues to embolden the corrupt officers in the Guyana Police Force and other state institutions such as GAISUCO. This view was expressed by the APNU-AFC opposition at the weekly press conference held on Tuesday. The party claimed that the government's refusal to act could lead to further corruption, bribery, extrajudicial killings, and the unlawful cover-up of murders and other illegalities as seen perpetrated by members of the Guyana Police Force and PPP operatives in state institutions. Scores of Guyanese, including those in civil society, have called for an independent investigation to be conducted following the accusation leveled against Jagdeo by Chinese businessman Suzy Rong, in a Vice News documentary published last month. Meanwhile, the Government of Canada stands ready to assist the Government of Guyana with capacity building training in the oil and gas sector and other key areas, Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana, Mark Berman, has said. Berman noted that Canada's offer comes through the Canada CARICOM Expert Deployment Mechanism, which is a 4-year program that is funded by the Government of Canada and implemented by the Canadian Executive Services Organization. The initiative allows government agencies in the Caribbean to benefit from several capacity-building services through coaching, training, and workshops. And an 82-year-old woman of the Cuyuni-Mazaruni region succumbed to the dreaded COVID-19 as Guyana's toll moves to 1,276. 142 new cases were reported, with 2 persons in the intensive care unit. The ministry is also appealing to the general public to respect the confidentiality of the deceased and her family and allow them to mourn their tragic loss in peace. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 10 in Guyana, we wrap things up with the page 7 of today's KAIETEIR News. Police credibility. The Guyana Police Force is fighting to protect its tattered image following bombshell revelations by one of its own senior officers, or a grand part of a grand cover-up of the investigations into the murder of businessman Ricardo Fagundes. It's nothing new. This has been the case for decades, and from commissioner to commissioner, nothing has been done to reform this state institution. No one, not even the government, trusts the police force. It is the least credible public institution in this country and perhaps the hemisphere. When a crime is committed, no one expects it to be solved. No one wants to even make a report to the force. It is a sad state of affairs for such a key institution that has responsibility of protecting citizens. There have been calls for an international investigation of the Fagunas killing and the alleged cover-up. We believe there should be a probe into the entire force from which should flow sweeping changes from top to bottom. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on KAIETEIR Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.